healer, trained in Chinese medicine and Western medicine. He has a very deep knowing and embodiment of Tao, which is the ultimate source and creator. And when he created this calligraphy, he put the source most positive vibration of compassion into this calligraphy. And he says, Winnie, the one sentence secret of the greatest compassion is that the greatest compassion boosts energy, stamina, vitality, and immunity. I say this again. The greatest compassion boosts energy, stamina, vitality, and immunity. And why is this important, right? If you Google #compassion fatigue, how many mental health workers have compassion fatigue? How many of them are absolutely exhausted during COVID when all of us had anxiety and depression from the isolation? And of course, we have the doctors and nurses that work in ER who are also burned out and fatigued. So imagine a world where all the healthcare professionals practice the greatest compassion to boost their energy, stamina, vitality, and immunity. And this is a really great time to introduce that on September 24th and 26th, we're going to have a Tao Science Conference where this topic is about mental health and how the practice of Tao calligraphy will help healthcare professionals reverse burnout and cultivate their life force. So tonight, let me write this down about the topic of boundaries and boundless. Can you move the camera?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in the beginning, there was boundless. We're all in this one condition. And then one gave birth to two, two gave birth to three, and all things. So here we have, okay, Winnie is here, and Jay is here, and Chloe is here, and my mom and dad, okay, we're all here, okay? So in this world, there is boundaries. For example, my bank account is not your bank account. My house is not your house. My car is not your car. My body is not your body. So when we talk about self-love, it includes boundaries. The skin is a boundary that separates me from the other world. But at the same time, we'll also talk about boundless, because here we have source love. It's really interesting because this week I observed some people in the world, they have so much money. Let's draw some money signs here. But you know what? They don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So there exist people in the world, they're so good at making money. They're really good at boundaries, but they have no love. And then there are also people who have a lot of love, but they can't seem to accumulate any money. So they don't have boundaries. Actually, one of the most important boundaries is the boundaries with ourselves. And I want to talk about this one. What is the most important boundary that everyone should have is with themselves. Boundaries with self. This is the highest discipline. This is taking responsibility. And you know why this is important? This means turn your gaze inward. If I am always looking, what did my father not do? Not that what did my mother not do? What did the government not do? What did my teacher not do? What did my client not do? What did my boyfriend not do? What did my assistant not do? If I'm always looking outside, I am wasting my precious life force. So at the end of the day, why is it that healthcare professionals have compassion fatigue? Is because they are looking at other people. Now, what is the smartest thing that we can do? Is keep our gaze in our zone. It's called minding my own energy. And this is where the greatest compassion comes in. Why is that compassion can boost energy, stamina, vitality, and immunity? Is because if I have the wisdom of only helping others when other people ask me. Okay, for example, have you ever received advice that you didn't ask for? Have you ever worried about other people, but they didn't ask you to worry about them? Did you ever offer something and the other person didn't ask for it? You see, if we have a habit of always looking at what others don't have, we're not actually taking responsibility of looking at what I don't have. If I don't fill my bucket to 100, if I don't fill my oil lamp to 100, if my battery is not 100 and I keep giving money to other people, keep giving my Shen Qi Jing, my energy to other people, then what's going to happen? I get easily angry. I get easily scared. Oh, this is a good one. I get easily confused. I don't have clarity. I don't know what I am, who I am, what I'm here to do. So because this is such an important topic for us to know who I am, we're doing a very deep dive. So from now until November 11th, we're going to talk about boundaries and boundless and discover who we truly are. And we're going to use this framework. This framework is called the universal law of Shen Qi Jing. So the universal law of Shen Qi Jing says Shen is made up of soul, heart, mind. Qi is energy, and Jing is matter, right? So matter is like things that I can see and touch. I think we all understand. That's the cells. That's the transformer. Energy is the space between the cell, right? So when I take a walk, I'm moving energy. Mind is the processor. Heart is the receiver, and soul is the warehouse. And why is this important? Have you ever felt like your brain wants one thing, but then your heart wants something else? Oh, yes.
Good. Let go.
So today we want to explore what blocks us from having harmony. Because the goal is to have internal harmony so that I can radiate that harmony into the world. Now, a lot of the times, the heart wants something, which is love, and the mind wants something else, such as money. And I'd like to say that love is important and money is also important. So, how can we master both the world that has separation, that we call the yin yang world, and at the same time that we can access the oneness world where we can experience the love? The my breakthrough is your breakthrough. Healing you is healing me, right? So isn't this such a great thing for us to explore for a couple weeks? I'm very, very excited. Okay, so briefly, the soul is the warehouse of information, right? So the soul is the boss. Now, this is so important because if you don't recognize that soul is the boss, that's the number one challenge that we have. Because if you live in a world that doesn't have the soul and you don't know what your soul is, then the heart and the mind are like two little children. The heart says, I want love, and the brain says, I want money. And then, so the only way that we can have love and money at the same time is the soul. Because why? Because the soul has the ability to navigate the entire creation and reverse creation circle. So by knowing our soul, we can have love and money at the same time. Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes. We got some dancers in the room. Okay, so without further ado, let's do a quick meditation to look at what are the blockages for us knowing our soul. Because if our soul is the boss that can help us navigate the yin yang world, which is the world with separation and boundaries, and also the wu world, which is the world of oneness, what is it that we can do today to learn about the soul so that we can master the heart and the mind and harmonize both of them? So if you can please join me. Let's put one hand over the heart and one hand over the lower abdomen. So what's coming through is a song. So I will obey my soul and offer everyone a blessing. So blessing for everyone as appropriate to love the boundless and the boundaries within them. Blessings start as appropriate. I love my soul. I love my soul. I love my soul. I love my heart. I love my heart. I love my heart. I love my mind. 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 I love my energy. I love my energy. I love my body. 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 Silent blessing continues. Please keep your eyes closed. How. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you, love you, love you. Okay, so I'd like to invite the community to say their name and what they do and say a couple words about either some challenges they have historically or now about boundaries and boundless and whether they're trying to manifest more love and money because the more you share, the more likely you'll be picked as the demo. Okay, so who wants to go first? Hello, everybody. So, my name is Chloe, and boundaries in particular have historically been, I will just say it, insanely difficult for me. So much so that I would just give my everything to someone. And I thought that was perfectly okay until I realized it would just eat at me so much. And I would get this burning resentment, not just for them, but also for myself. I turned it towards myself. So I just
it was a cycle of hurting myself. And this was not just a one-time thing. It was multiple times. So, boundaries and learning more about boundaries and how to set them, appropriately set them, and how to honor my boundaries has been a important mountain for me to climb and to allow myself to have boundaries because they are healthy for me to have, because I don't want to be a doormat all the time. I'm a very loving person. I love to give to people, and this was what was modeled to me by my mom. She is one of the most selfless giving people that I know. I mean, she's my mom. But I've also seen how it's also affected her and has really drained her energy. She's a nurse. Both my parents are nurses, so they're both in the caretaking profession, and it definitely has to have some regulations, some boundaries to be able to balance taking care of your kids and taking care of yourself, and also showing up to work and treating your clients with the utmost care, respect, and attention. So for myself, honoring my boundaries is very important. And sometimes I also currently notice myself having a lot of boundaries when it comes to meeting new people. So right now I've been challenging myself to okay, back it up a little bit. I recently joined a server online, a social media circle for people sharing their art. And I've always been a creative person, and that's part of boundlessness, to be creative. And I've always found such a joy in expressing myself through art, and it's been a great comfort for me in expressing a lot of hard things when you don't really have someone to really talk to about it. So having this server has allowed me to, or this area to talk, has allowed me to get out of my shell a little bit more, because I'd be someone who would be in one of these places and not say a single word. I'd just be like someone just watching, always, like through a window, just like staring and lurking. And that's kind of creepy, but it's a challenge for me to relax my boundaries and to open myself up again, to connect with other people who are not threatening. They're safe. And allowing myself to form or try to form relationships with other people who have similar interests as I do, and express myself with art. So that's something positive, boundary-wise, that I'm experiencing right now, because it's no joke how difficult it can be to have just really extensive boundaries when you've been hurt a lot. It takes practice, and it takes softening of your heart to let them go, to relax your mind of all the what could go wrong and the potential pain that you could run into. So that is my share. Thank you so much.
Let me answer a question.
Sure.
Yeah, you can step here. So this is a really good question, and why having the soul power is so important. We're going to talk about the Tao pendulum. So we're going to drop some link off for the Tao science and also the Tao hands workshop with the Tao pendulum, because what Chloe just said is about how to say yes and how to say no with clarity, right? Okay. So on one hand, we have people with no boundaries. And on one hand, we have people with too much boundaries. So these are people who stay yes all the time. These are people who say no all the time. So somewhere in the middle is say yes or say no. So say yes or say no, that is the question. And there is a technology out there, and it's called the Tao pendulum. So if you receive Tao hands, which is the next training is coming up September 13, 14, which is this weekend, then you will receive a download that allows you to know when to say yes and when to say no. The most important thing about boundaries is do not use your brain. A lot of people like to say, Winnie, how do I set boundaries? Should I say yes or should I say no? When should I block my mother? And the answer is follow nature's way. Follow nature's way. Follow Tao flourish. What does that mean? If you're hungry, eat. If you're thirsty, drink. If you're tired, rest. So boundaries is not something that we have to think really hard. You know, it's like if doctors and nurses are tired, then they should rest. We don't have to think about it. We just have to listen to the body. And this is another part that's so interesting in the law of Shen Qi Jing. If you look at the law of Shen Qi Jing, okay, so the soul leads the heart leads the mind leads the energy leads the matter, and then the energy go back to the soul. So what is that meaning is that it comes full circle, right? So here we have things with boundaries, and here we have things with no boundaries. Here we have size and shape, and here we have no size, no shape. So what is the true meaning? The true meaning is if you're tired, rest. If you don't feel like socializing, don't socialize. If you feel like socializing, then socialize. You don't have to think about it. You just have to follow your Tao nature. And thank you, Chloe. Let me explain a little bit about what Tao nature is. So Tao nature, Master Sha teaches the 10 Da. The 10 Da is the greatest love, the greatest forgiveness, the greatest compassion, the greatest light, the greatest humility, the greatest harmony, the greatest flourishing, the greatest gratitude, the greatest service, and the greatest enlightenment. So that is our Tao nature. That's who we truly are. And as long as we anchor our being in these 10 Da, these 10 pillars of love, forgiveness, compassion, light, then we don't have to use the brain. Should I go to that birthday party or not? Should I see my mom for Thanksgiving or not? I don't have to think about it because everything I do comes from love. I say yes with love and I say no with love. In fact, it's not so much that I'm setting a boundary with somebody, but I am, instead of thinking it as I'm saying no to you, is I'm saying yes to solitude. I'm saying yes to me time. I'm saying yes to sitting quietly with my favorite beverage. In this case, it turns out to be hot chocolate. I'm having a moment by myself. Maybe instead of going to the birthday party, I'm taking a hike by myself. So rather than putting a yes, no, good, bad into setting boundaries, it's really about coming from Tenda, coming from love, forgiveness, compassion, light, what is the most loving, compassionate, harmonizing, grateful, flourishing thing that I can do right now? Okay, Jay, you have something to say. Okay, let's.
Well, I just want, first of all, I want to acknowledge, can you run it now? I want to acknowledge Bettina, who is joining us online and who shares that she just 2 days ago had an incident where she gave all this energy to her mother and her sister, and then she felt down and depressed and drained afterwards. So this is a really important topic for her. And I think as you can see, it's really important for Chloe when he has plenty of examples. It's also important to me, and I think it's necessary to talk a little bit here about having too many boundaries, because we know a lot of people in our circle who have not enough boundaries, and so they overcommit themselves. They get involved in all these projects. They don't finish what they start. People get, they get upset because things aren't turning out the way they planned, because, they're saying yes, 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 and no, no. You also have some friends who, as Winnie pointed out, these tend to be people who are successful, who really know how to get the most out of life, except that they have trouble connecting with other people. They have trouble connecting with love. And so one of the things that came out this morning in a flow is when we sometimes say no, and when we say no over and over again, when we're a person who has a lot of boundaries, we say no, and we say no, and we say no, we put no into the field. Now, it's good to put yes into the field, right? Because then we say yes, and that's positive. And when we say no, and no, and no, the universe gives us back no. But we also get to be responsible about the yeses and the nos that we're saying. So ideally, when someone comes on and they give you a show like this, they've got a formula for you. Okay, say yes when X, and say no when Y. In this case, the solution is completely different. The solution is always check your soul. Because I would hate for you to be a person who says a lot of no, and then I just give you a rule. Okay, well, just say yes. And next time somebody tells you something, just say yes to it and go do it, right? Okay, then somebody walks in the room and says, hey, let's go rob a bank. And you're like, okay, let's go rob a bank. No, right? Still, we don't want to rob the bank. We want to know what is in alignment. And many of us, we go around and we feel well equipped for this, right? I look at all the psychology blogs, and I'm really up to date on all the latest in what narcissists do and how people can manipulate you, and all of these things that you can find readily in the media right now. And what happens here is we get caught in our head, and we create a disconnect with our heart. So maybe you meet someone and your heart knows that this is the right person, but your head says, well, this person is 5'9", and I only date people who are over 6 feet. Or this person is, doesn't quite make enough money according to what I want. And so we say no, because the list in our head says If X, then no. And Winnie and I work with a lot of people who are looking for love. And this is something that frequently happens with people, is that they have a list of requirements, and when someone doesn't meet the list, then they're off, and that's it. And then we often get into situations where heaven says, match this person with this other person. But then we match person A with person B, and person A says, no, I don't want it. I didn't want to talk to person B because person B does not meet XYZ qualification on my list. So we always want to be in connection with our soul here. Master Sha has a saying that the soul is the boss. And many of us have a problem with authority. Now I'm speaking to those of you who are like me. Right? So if you tell me the soul is the boss, then I'm like, great, I know where to file my complaints. Right? But what's really happening here, when I rebel against my soul, and I have done this, so I am speaking from experience here. When I rebel against my soul, I am doubly denying myself. I'm denying myself of what I could have access to, what I could achieve. Now my soul knows what I can have access to and what I can achieve, but I'm not listening. And then I'm also, because I'm not listening to my soul, because I'm saying no to my higher authority, I'm creating resistance. I'm creating blockage. I might even be creating pain in my body. That's how real this gets. Because when we say the soul is the boss, and we show this chart, the law of Shen Jing, right? It's not just arbitrary. Now, what do I mean here? If I create a lot of resistance, if there's a lot of no, if I say a lot of no to myself, then I create repeated blockages in certain areas of my life, and that trickles down. So maybe, I start to think, well, I don't deserve certain things, or, it starts to change this negative information at the level of the soul, this denial that I make of this starts to trickle down. Oh, and now I am having a health problem. I'm having difficulty. I'm having weakness. There's an autoimmune disorder. So autoimmune disorders are a great example of what often results from not listening to your own voice. So the key here is to remember our soul always is on our side. It always has our back, and it always understands where we're coming from. So as I said before, I have an authority problem. So I want to say no to the boss. When the boss says, do this, I want to question it. I want to know why. No, that violates my boundaries, boss. Sorry. I don't work past 7 p.m. I don't do X, Y, Z. And this has perhaps saved me from some workplace incidences. Maybe you could argue it saved me from getting taken advantage of. You could certainly argue that, and it's probably true. But how many times have I prevented myself from getting what my soul wants for me because I knew better? Because I'm smart, and I don't just listen and obey when someone tells me to listen and obey. So this created over time distance between me and my highest self. And so most recently, I've had to develop a counter mechanism to this, because my automatic is to say no to authority. And that includes my own authority. I'm really grateful that I never had any autoimmune problems. And I'm also really grateful to have discovered this technology. There's two big reasons. One is this technology has gotten me so much more deeply in touch with my soul. I can hear my voice so much more clearly than I ever could before. That's number one. And then number two is it has softened me. It has opened me. It has allowed me to understand that my soul really loves me, really wants what's best for me. And now that I'm listening, and now that we have a positive feedback relationship between my soul and I can tell you that your life can expand by leaps and bounds when you fall into step, fall in line, become disciplined about listening to our own souls. My life has blossomed into this fantasy filled with abundance and pleasure and fun. And I am so grateful to have connected with you, connected with Winnie, who connected me with Tao calligraphy. And I'm also grateful to be connected with Chloe, who has something to say. So I'd love to hear what you have to say, Chloe, please.
Question for you.
Oh, please. Come on on.
So, we're talking about something that we can't see. Our soul. How do you hear your soul?
What a great question.
How do you hear it? I'm curious. How do you hear it?
How do I hear my soul?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Thank you, Chloe. So, there are layers and levels of this, of course, right? So the reason I preface it, the reason I preface it this way is everyone can hear their soul.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need to have special talents or gifts.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? So your soul speaks to you through your intuition.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Your soul gives you signals all the time. Your soul gives you bodily signals often.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel into your body, if you ask yourself, do I really want to go pursue this program, for example, right? If you're coming out of college, maybe you're thinking about graduate school.
Yeah.
Do I want to pursue this particular program?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you just feel.
My soul says yes.
Okay. So now you know. Now you have a stronger feeling. So
yes.
Always. So and then the second thing about this is always listen when your body and your soul gives you signals.
So like a tensing or like a feeling like physical imbalance.
Yes.
Sometimes I notice like I have like this or whatever, and I always like, oh, correct it. What does that mean? What does that mean? Like just something you have to pay attention to?
Yeah. You should definitely always be listening to your body's signals. So when in chiropractors often do this thing called muscle testing. And you test your muscles if this, for example, this substance is good for you, right? Should I take this medicine, right? And so you try to create grip strength. And if the answer is no, then it'll be really easy to break your grip. But if the answer is yes, then you're very strong. You're much stronger, and your grip doesn't break. Right? So there are methods for listening to your body.
I see.
And in addition to that, you can get empowerments, right? You can do deep work, you can do shamanic work, and as Winnie's pointing out, and I put a link in the chat to join the next Tao Hands training. Tao Hands gives you a technique called the Tao pendulum, where you can feel in your own body through this empowerment a yes or no. So you can ask yourself any yes or no. You can ask your soul any yes or no question, and it will give you an answer through your pendulum. So through this technique and others like it, you can sharpen and build your relationship, right? But in any case, it's always a relationship, and you always want to listen to your intuition. The way to deepen your intuition, the way to strengthen it, the way to make it more accurate is to listen to it. It's just like a friendship. If you tell me things and I consistently don't listen, then you'll stop telling me things.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Right.
Or like the gut instinct, like when you ignore it, you get the confusion. You
Exactly.
don't know what is dangerous, what is not dangerous.
But if you listen, then the signal becomes clearer and clearer and stronger. And you develop a really strong relationship with your own inner guidance system. And that's what we're all about here.
Yay!
Empowering you so that you can improve your outcomes here. Be your own guidance system, heal yourself. And so that's why I think this technology is really powerful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
that
thank you,
was
Chloe.
a really great answer. I understand now.
Did you have anything you want to add?
No, I think we should pick a demo.
Okay, what are my choices? I need yes, we are live. So, Chloe, would you do me a big favor?
Yes.
Pour me a glass of water and come back on camera.
Of course.
Thank you.
Which
Whatever's handy. Winnie has one somewhere too.
This is on hand. I got you.
So before we're gonna shift to the blessing now, to the demo. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about compassion and how it relates to what we're talking about. Thank you, Chloe. All right. So, Winnie and I are both people who learned how to be very discriminating, how to have discerning judgment. And I, especially as a professor, have learned how to bring this to the most extreme degree. And so this creates this tendency to judge and therefore say no, right? Is like putting a 0 in the field. No, 0, no, 0, no, 0. So what happens if you think about an electrical connection or a computer program, right? A 0 is a lack of connection and a 1 is a complete connection, right? So if you have a 1, the electrical switch is on, the light comes on. If you have a 0, the electrical switch is not engaged and you see no lights, right? So when we learn to judge, we learn to put up zeros in a sense, right? No, no, no. And we create disconnection. So when our automatic is no, then we've automatically disconnected ourselves from large swaths of life. When our automatic is yes, then we are putting ones into the field, right? We are saying yes. The difference is when we have compassion, this allows us to say yes to everything in a sense. It allows us to give space enough so that whatever's going on, so when we have something happen in our lives, when we have something negative come up, maybe someone gets sick, someone leaves, we want to say no. We want to reject it. And if you're like me, I want to turn away. I don't want to look at it. Right? So what this does, what this compassion does, is it creates this positive field around what you're feeling uncomfortable with, what you're judging, what you're saying no to. It allows you the space to say yes, even when you're saying yes to your no. So I want us all to tune in to the field of the greatest compassion. And just take a moment and connect with your life, with your day-to-day experience, and where you are on the spectrum from boundless to boundaries. And feel what it is like to invoke the greatest compassion into your field, wherever you are on this spectrum. So Chloe, I'd like you to come up now and join me.
Mm-hmm.
Did Bettina here?
If you would. Oh,
Oh, call up. Ah.
Ask Bettina if she wants to be done.
Okay, great. So, Bettina, would you like to come on via demo?
Are you okay being on camera?
Yeah, she unmuted.
Yes.
Great.
Okay.
Hi, Bettina.
Give me one moment. Right.
Hello.
It's good to see you. So, do you want to share a little bit about your experience with boundaries? And you put a little bit in the chat earlier. If you could just say a few words now about what happened to you a couple days ago, but also sort of where you are, where you tend to be in this. All right, if you tend to have too many boundaries or not enough.
I think I have no boundaries towards my mother because she needs me, and this exhausts me sometimes, especially 2 days ago. But I cannot let her alone. In my opinion, this is something I had. And I have boundaries. I think I have many boundaries. And I'm a little bit challenged now because I was so down. I was so down yesterday. I had no interest in doing some things. Yes, but what do you mean? What should I do?
Yes, perfect.
I
So,
could not get it.
so the key is to understand the most important boundary is the one that you have with yourself.
What does this mean?
It's guarding you from having negative thoughts. So if you say, oh, taking care of this family member exhausts me. If you have this thought, then you're going to manifest exhaustion. If you believe that taking care of this family member rejuvenates you, nourishes you, brings you great joy, that also becomes your reality. Now I'm going to tell you an example of me washing dishes. Because before Jay met me, he was not a fan of washing dishes. I think he would get frustrated, angry, stressed, all of the above when he's washing dishes. When I wash dishes, I enter a meditative state. I'm listening to the sound of the water. I'm observing the smell, the aroma of the soap. I am observing that the mac and cheese is very, very stuck on the plate. And I'm scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing. And I'm observing. Observing with ease. A little humor, a little thought, a little humanness about me. I wonder when this mac and cheese is ever going to come off the plate. In other words, I've been there, right? I'm a mother. Mothers don't have day off. We take care of our children 7 days a week. In fact, I was telling Jay this morning. Why is it that mothers tend to not have boundaries? Why? We don't have 1 day vacation. If we go 1 day on strike, our children are sitting in poopy diaper. They're going hungry. So we want to be boundless in our service by having boundaries with our mind, by lovingly, compassionately holding space for the part of us that feels tired and exhausted. And part of it is because I care too much. For example, with my firstborn child, I was so stressed about taking care of her. I didn't let myself take a 5-minute shower. This is a true story. The way that I cared for her, I charted how many minutes I breastfed her on my left breast and how many minutes I breastfed her on the right breast. It was so stressful all the time. It's like, did I chart it? When did she last poop? I tracked everything. We have some laughter in the audience. By the second child, I'm like, it's an all-you-can-eat, baby. You want to feast on my breast? Go ahead. And, I used to get really upset when I hire a babysitter and they don't do a really good job wiping my baby's butt. It's like this. After they change the diaper, there's still 4 or 5 more wet wipes where it still comes out with poop. So there's 2 ways I can look at this, right? One is I say, you know what? I can't trust no babysitter. I can't hire no one to take care of my child. I can only trust myself. And that person, he's lousy at changing diapers. But you see, if I have these thoughts, then what am I doing? By having negative thoughts that I have to do it myself, I have to do it all alone. Doing this exhausts me. I cannot take a break. I must do a good job. It is me that is exhausting me. It is me that is stressing me out. It is my expectation, my attachment to doing a good job that ultimately causes burnout. You see, if I change diaper like that guy, where there's 4 more 5 poopy wet wipes coming out, then I have no stress. Right? If I didn't care, I got that last burp out of the baby, then I have no stress. So part of it is not to not show up to take care of the people. But option one, you can hire another person, and if finances are not available, then just lower the bar. Okay, maybe instead of spending all the time cooking, we're just doing takeout. And maybe instead of sweeping the floor 7 days a week, maybe we'll only sweep it 1 day a week. By lowering our expectations, by changing our judgment, that letting go sets us free. So the most important boundary is the boundary with self. It's the highest discipline to not have any negative thinking about caregiving. It's taking responsibility that I manifest my experience. If I'm stressed, it's because I manifested it. If I'm burnt out, it's because I manifested it. Whatever I experience, it's because I did it to myself. And then this is turn your gaze inward. So for example, in the beginning with my firstborn child, I'm like, okay, are you asleep yet? Are you asleep yet? Are you asleep yet? I was so obsessed. If my firstborn baby is falling asleep, with my second baby, here you go. Put it into grip, walk away. Bye-bye. Which is that I spend more time resting. I spend more time sleeping, actually. I got more sleep from my second child. And so let's do the 10-Da wall breathing. To have compassion for the part of us that is exhausted. Because I have been there. I have been a resentful mother. I have been a resentful caregiver. And if I had Tao technology, then I would boost my energy, stamina, vitality, and immunity. So let's get started. So this is Xi Qing Hu Zhuo. Xi means inhale. Qi means the source, most positive vibrations. Hu means exhale. And Zhuo means the heaviness, the tiredness. If there's any stress, frustration, resentment, fear, disappointment, let that go. Okay, so we're gonna inhale and chant, heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, chant, heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Heal Heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Heal me. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Heal me. A moment of silence. How. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you, love you, love you. So, welcome anyone to say something. My smile just got bigger and bigger. I just feel so much joy doing this dog click feel I while breathing. And, I just can chant heal me all day. I feel it's like, it's a mantra that I can just get lost chanting forever. And every time I chant, the smile just got bigger and bigger. Okay, how do you feel?
How do you feel, Bettina?
Okay, it felt good to chant heal me because I realized I'm looking, this person, this person, this person, this person, and that exhausts me. And therefore I have to, it was a release to chant out, heal me. That was something good.
Exactly. The purpose of setting boundaries is to heal me. That is the point. That is the point. In fact, we can care, give, and chant heal me at the same time. chanting is like this. There's yang chanting, chanting out loud, and there's yin chanting, which is silently chanting. I'm secretly chanting. When I'm driving, I'm chanting. When I'm taking a shower, I'm chanting. When I'm cooking, I'm chanting. I'm 24/7 chanting. That's why I look so happy all the time. They're like, what's up with you? I said, because I'm chanting all the
What's your
time.
secret?
My secret is I chant all the time. Okay, Jay, you got something to say.
Sure. If you want me to. So I just want to say, I also I echo Winnie's feeling of lightening and becoming more and more joyful. Every time we do this practice, I feel the same way. And Winnie and I are fortunate enough to be able to do this every day. I just want to say before I go into that and offer for everyone to join us every day, I did see, I have third eye that sees beyond the visible, and I did see both Mother Mary and Kuan Yin coming in and giving blessings. And I have a message. This is Mother Mary. This is for Bettina and also everyone else listening. It is great and commendable that you love to serve. And there are many who could do to take after your example. In fact, everyone in this gathering loves to serve. And also everyone in this gathering currently has the tendency to give more of themselves than they are able, more of themselves than they can fuel through their own inner strength and purpose. Each of you it is strongly recommended to develop a practice of checking in always with ourselves before we enter into a moment where we are serving. Now, of course, this is not always possible, but many times we can take a simple moment, check in. Where am I? Do I feel capable? Do I feel full enough to share what I have with another? When this answer is no, have no fear, have no judgment. Do not allow yourself to come off your center. This is simply a reminder to come back to ourselves. Where we are in a situation where the service is necessary in this moment, we simply ask our highest selves, what you often call yuenshin, your original soul. We ask to fill us so that we may serve. And if this requires our processing something, we may return to it once our service is over. This one small check-in with yourselves will save you much stress, frustration, and even burnout. When you honestly feel that you are unable to give, then I would recommend do not give in this moment. Come back to yourself. When you are full, now you are in a position to give. When you feel hopeful and full of energy, you have something to offer. When you feel as though, oh, this is something I must do, but I do not wish to do, this creates great interference in our body, mind, and soul. So learning to say no is necessary. For those of us who feel guilty when we say no, remember, if you say yes to everything, ultimately you will be able to commit to nothing. Ultimately, what you offer will be worthless because you will have spread your energy too thinly. You will have no potency. So when you need to say no, feel firm and caring in your decision. Caring to yourself, yes, but also caring to the other, for they are in need of help. And if you offer help but are unable to fulfill it, then you have frustrated yourself and the one you are helping. And this simply creates more negativity. So have compassion also for your no. And remember, you are loved and blessed, whether you are able to give or you are only in a position to receive help. And also, whatever is happening is momentary. And so, it too will pass. If you are unable in the moment, this does not mean you will always be unable. Take great joy in your service, as I do. Merely guard yourself, your energy, not with strictness or absoluteness, but with care and compassion. For you have only so much capacity, and others are doing their best. I am most honored to serve you, and you are most dearly loved and deeply blessed. How? Thank you so much, everyone. Sorry, thank you, Bettina. Sorry to keep us a little late tonight, but when the flow comes, the flow comes. And so, hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Heart Center Connection. We do this every week at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We love for you to join us. This is a community effort, so please feel free to send us your comments, your questions, or whatever's coming up for you. Reach out to us and let us know. And we're happy to bring that into this session so that we can work on whatever is coming up in your life. And luckily, it tends to happen that whatever we work on, it's coming up in your life. So thank you so much for joining us. We have a Rooted in Love retreat coming up on September 21st. You can join us there by visiting rooted.heartcenter.la. And of course, we meet every morning at 7 a.m. for sacred Tao calligraphy, light wall breathing, which you experienced tonight as part of the session. We meet every day at 7 a.m. Pacific time, and you can find that at breathing.heartcenter.la. That's breathing.heartcenter.la. Thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you all next